This is Carol Lighthall with Okemo Valley Chamber of Commerce. Today we're going to give you something a little bit new and different and fun. Let me introduce two guests today. First of all, I'll tell you, Diane Stockton-Breese is our Member Services Director at the Chamber. She helps me to look good, and she's here today.
Happy
Diane.
to be here.
David Giancola, did I say
You got
that
it.
right?
You nailed it.
Fabulous, is our guest, and he's going to tell us about filmmaking in general and what it looks like in Vermont and in Okemo Valley. So we have a nice screened image behind us, I understand, that highlights his latest venture here in Vermont. David, before we get started, would you just tell us about who you are?
What?
Just,
who am I? Like the larger
Yeah.
sense, who am I?
Yes.
No, so I'm a filmmaker based out of Rutland, but I film all over the state of Vermont mostly. We do film all over the world, but I try to keep our productions as much as possible in Vermont. And I opened my company, Edgewood Studios, in 1987. And at that time, my goal was always to make feature films, but to make feature films, it was a pretty big goal. And so we started doing whatever you could do to get paid videotaping things. So I started off videotaping weddings and legal depositions and some funerals, if you can believe it or not. And
Really?
that worked its way up to TV commercials and then industrial videos and then eventually short films and then features. And we got into the feature film business. And once we started rolling in that, we never looked back. And Edgewood has produced or helped to bring into the state almost 30 feature films since 1987.
That's fabulous, amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so for regular people like me, for instance,
Right.
it's hard to imagine that this kind of thing is going on in our fair state.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about your latest effort
Sure.
that was filmed, at least in part, in Okemo Valley?
That's right. So my latest feature, which is being premiered at the Paramount Theatre in Rutland, Vermont on January 25th, is called Accelerator, which is a sci-fi adventure film which stars Sam J. Jones, who you may know as Flash Gordon,
Yes.
Sean Young, who you probably know from Blade Runner, and she's been in so many movies, Stripes, John James from TV's Dynasty, who was my co-producer on it, his friend Maxwell Caulfield, who everybody knows from the Colbys, who worked with John James on the Colbys, and also everybody knows him from Grease too. Excuse me, and then Laura James, his daughter, who is the winner of America's Next Top Model, who's an actress, and a newcomer named Ryan Wassine. They're in this sci-fi adventure that takes place literally all over the globe, where this young car thief stumbles onto a teleportation device. And in doing so, he starts accidentally teleporting around the world and kind of runs into Laura, who could be the girl of his dreams, except for the fact that he's dragged her into this international conspiracy as all these government agencies are trying to get this teleportation device. So even though it takes place all over the world, literally from New York, LA, Miami, Chile, most of it, actually the actors never left the state of Vermont. Primary filming was done in Vermont, in Rutland, Londonderry at Magic Mountain, and some at Killington. Excuse me. And the rest of the backgrounds and the shooting and the other stuff was second unit people, which are crews that you send out without the principal actors. So it was a large production in terms of scope, but it was not a big budget for us. But it was a goal of mine to keep the shooting as much as possible in Vermont, and so we were able to do that, and I'm very excited about it. So.
Well, thank you for doing that. We have tons of questions related to movie making in our state and what helps that to happen. Before we go there, though, I understand that there's a clip. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's not a clip from the movie. It's a behind-the-scenes clip that we have, and what this is us behind the scenes setting up a scene and filming a scene. It's myself, Ryan Wassine, Woody Keppel, who plays the scientist who created the teleportation device, Sean Young, and then I think there's a piece with myself and Sam Jones. So it is kind of warts and all how movies are made. You got to be in there. Well, the thing is, you're talking about it, but it's like a dog with a bone. You're like, you from New York, anyone? She wanted to get confusing. You know.
Iron Man. For which moment?
When you stand up.
So when I go from sitting to standing, just a little.
We only need to bring like a couple floppies inside and knock all that natural light down on the paint cans.
Okay, got you.
Okay, so let's run this. Good. Okay, let's shoot it.
64 Bravo, take one, mark.
Camera set. And action.
I should have told you. Be in motion on your feet before takeoff. It helps with the landing.
Woody, get in there and get right in there and get out with the camera. Yeah.
What is this? That girl has been surging so frequently, it's been very difficult to get a reading.
Kate, her name is Kate. Iron Mountain.
What did you say?
Iron Mountain. They have her Kate. They took her to whatever that is. You know it?
Yes, and Sai knows it as well. It's in Santiago, Chile.
You should have made it like a suit or something.
Well, thank you for the design input. I'll keep that in mind.
Look, we have to get there to help Kate.
That's in the shot, guys.
Okay, how's that?
That's nice. Is that? Yeah, that's what I want right there. Do you need a mark or are you good? Okay, good. Set.
Set.
And action.
Was it you sending me those disappearing text messages?
We've been discreetly monitoring the abilities of the Accelerator along with several government agencies who are funding it. Sai wants the device for himself, for power, war, money, greed.
63, take 5, mark.
We've got you, girl. And she's long gone to Iron Mountain.
Zap.
So my realization at the end is good being okay. I got this.
So yes, people like you, and then gift cut. Valmont also sells hunting arrows to kids.
Good.
Because you don't need that.
Good.
And you know remember you do funny like way at the end of the movie, which we did last night.
Yeah. It's just as lethal as any fire.
Oh wait!
I jumped on your last line before I said it's funny though. I didn't let you say that is shoplifting. Really, it drives me crazy. I gotta wait till you get that out.
Okay.
Okay.
It's funny though.
Okay, let's run it. Let's see what happens.
Like you're special or something.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. Who's assuming that you're some kind of officer like that? No, the trick is like just so we can't see this one right there.
So keep it like that.
Yeah.
So when my hand comes, I see when my hand comes up to talk, the bow comes up.
It just drifted. That's all.
We both know about this bathroom thing, right?
Right.
In reality, too. Outside this scene, we both know about this. So this is cool. So when I say whatever, we take it over, right? Just go right into it. Mr. McGuire, you don't even require a background check with this item.
How do you like that? I think action adventure probably is my favorite aspect of movie making. My colleague, Diane, coined a phrase that I like very much, so I'm going to pick on her and ask her to talk about the Hollywood of Vermont. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, I thought Okemo Valley, the Hollywood of Vermont, with all this filmmaking going on here. And so it's very exciting to have David come and talk about his production. I think it's interesting to find out why you picked Magic Mountain and what were the advantages of filming there.
Right. Well, it's not the first time. I think I want to point out it's not the first time that we filmed in the Okemo Valley. We did film a movie which has had a lot of notoriety called Moonlight and Mistletoe, which has just played recently it's been playing now for a decade on the Hallmark Channel, which stars Tom Arnold and Candace Cameron Bure, and that was filmed in Chester, Vermont. So we know that the people in the Okemo Valley are very cooperative. And then when searching for just what we needed and this is it takes place during the ending of the film, the part that was filmed at Magic Mountain. And what we needed was a resort that was very cooperative, kind of understood what we were doing. And in the scene, I can't give away the scene because it's the end of the movie, and most people hate spoilers, so I'm not going to give away any spoilers. But Magic Mountain, their whole vibe and their kind of corporate mission is to not be too big and to not be soulless, and to be accessible and be fun. And so that fit with what the ethos of the movie was and the way we were making the movie. And so they were able to let us come in. They were able to close down a trail. They were able to give us a cooperative operator who we filmed there for all day, a day and a half. And it was fantastic because, not to pick on other resorts or corporations in general, but a lot of ski resorts have gotten big and gotten corporate, and it's very tough for those people in those corporate environments to be open to movie making, because movie making is weird. We always do weird stuff. We'll come in and say, hey, we're going to blow up the mountain, but we're not really going to blow up the mountain. It'll be visual effects, but we're going to do all this crazy stuff. So whenever you're making a movie, especially sci-fi or action adventure, you're always asking weird things of people, and that doesn't work well in a corporate chain. And in a place like Magic Mountain, where you could talk to Jeff Hathaway, the man in charge, and explain to him what you want to do, made all the difference. And I have to say, I really love what they have going on at Magic Mountain. I really love that resort. We give them a big plug in the end credits of the movie because we put their logo up there because they just treated us so well. And we were exhausted, and our lead, Laura James, had a cold, and we were wanting to go home. And they're like, no, stay, have some beers, let's party, let's have a good time. And they were so great. I can't say enough great things about it. And not to go on too long about Magic Mountain, but
enthusiasm is huge,
right? So they were just so nice. So we had in making movies, especially action movies, there's simulated violence, there's simulated action, and it scares people corporately. And I'd gotten very touchy. This was at the very end of the schedule that we filmed there, and we were doing an action scene. And we have insurance when we do these things, and we're bonded, and we have stunt people, and it's safe and everything. But it doesn't always look great. So I'm up at the top of the slope, and Jeff comes walking up. And I said, oh no, we're in trouble. I said, Jeff's coming. We did something wrong. Somebody on another slope saw something. He's coming to get us. And I thought, this is it. We're shut down. I'm not going to finish the movie. And he said, well, did you kill whoever you're going to kill yet? And when he gets up to me, and I said, no. He says, well, are you going to kill somebody? I said, no, not in this scene. He said, oh, darn, I thought I was going to get to see some violence or something fun. So that sense of fun, is important, and it's why Magic Mountain is such a great place. It's why I tell everybody to go ski there. No lines. It's my plug, Magic Mountain.
So Jeff Hathaway, you're missing all this fun today.
I know, right?
We wanted you to be here, but I think they're probably focused on snow.
I think he's got better things to do today. That's okay.
Yeah. Fabulous. Now you have some
I have another
questions.
Because we represent the business community, I was very interested to know about the economic impact when a film takes place, and how does a community benefit in terms of, it's a short-term situation, but it's probably a big impact.
Right. It is, and back to Moonlight and Mistletoe, we were trying to bring tax incentives into the state of Vermont. That was 2008, I believe. And we filmed exclusively, and the whole movie was filmed in Chester, Vermont. Even the interiors that took place in Boston were filmed in Chester. And when we were done, we went up to the legislature in Montpelier and made our case for tax incentives. We had done the accounting on it. We had dropped about $600,000 in Chester, off season in June, because these Hallmark movies are always made in the summer because that's the way it works. It's terrible. You have to put up fake snow and all this. But we had spent $600,000 in Chester off season. And so movies make a huge economic impact. They drop a lot of money in communities. And in places like Vermont, you have the added tourism benefit that comes from when the movies are broadcast, when they're aired. Specifically with like the Hallmark movie, it's been running for 10 years. And so it's been an ad,
awesome.
Tourism ad for Chester.
Yeah.
So you have the economic benefits, you have the tourism benefits, and like all things that Vermonters want, then all the crew, they come in, they spend their money, and they go home, which is great. So there's a lot of benefits to the local community, to the states. That's why other states offer tax incentives.
Yeah.
I wish Vermont did. I don't think it ever will. If someday it does, I think it will see an influx of film production.
Excellent.
So what can we do? I mean, tax credits are not on the table, at least not now.
Right.
So we heard enthusiasm counts for something.
Right.
And so we, as Okemo Valley actually encompasses 14 villages and towns. And I know when we have a program or we have a question, we ask our membership, including the towns we represent. So if it ever made sense, I can tell you that Okemo Valley, and this is maybe a personal thing I like to think about, is the options we offer to people would also be true for filmmaking in terms of our towns and our businesses are so diverse and so different. We have historic towns like Plymouth, Weston. We have Mount Escutney in Wethersfield, Chester, down to Londonderry. So we cover a lot, and so there's my plug for you, David.
No, and I think even with tax incentives not being on the table, I think that starting with communication and cooperation, that's the basis for it, and that's how film production initially, pre-tax incentive competition, that's how that started in Vermont. So if that's going on, I think that's the foundation upon which more productions could come in the future.
Fabulous.
Which we find it, and it's funny. I was just talking to Sam Jones, who lives in San Diego, and he was saying to me, and I was, it's January, so it's cold. I'm thinking, oh God, San Diego. I'd like to be in San Diego. And he said, Dave, he talks like this. Dave, I've made a decision. You got to make a Western. You got to make a Western in winter in Vermont. That's what we got to do. And I thought that's a fantastic idea. He said, I want to be in a horse. I've been riding horses down here. So
Well, that works out perfect because you've been in southern Okemo Valley, you've been in the middle of Okemo Valley, and now you just have to film in northern Okemo Valley.
That's right.
And you're good.
There we go. There we go. So these things are possible. Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. It's exciting. I think Vermont is a quiet little state in so many important ways, and it's a great place to live, but the world loves Vermont.
It does.
I was going to ask you about the films that you make and where they end up and where they get distributed, and Okemo Valley is then showcased off in the world, and I was curious to know.
With the sci-fi and the action movies, the genre films I make, they actually reach out further than like the Hallmark movies across the globe. For example, Accelerator we're already in negotiations with Sky TV New Zealand about playing the film there. We're negotiating over price right now. So our films literally circle the globe in terms of distribution, and that Vermont image circles the globe with it. So it is the best form. I think there's an old saying that publicity is always more effective than advertising, right? And so there's no better publicity than having your town or your state be in a movie that goes bang all over the world. So I think that's one of the great things about it. And with Accelerator, the interesting thing about it is it's a teleportation movie, takes place all over the world, but was all filmed in Vermont, which is the secret. So.
Now, Diane, you had some questions.
I have another question.
Another question, okay.
I just think it's interesting, in the history of your company and the different films that you've made, the different folks that you've worked with. I think the folks in Okemo Valley would be curious to know some people you've worked with who've then gone on to do other things, and then I think that would be really interesting.
Well, the list is really long, and it's interesting. Some of these young actors that I've worked with at the time were completely unknown. For example, Chris Evans, who's now Captain America and a huge star. We gave him his start in the first film called The Newcomers, I think, in 2001. And then Jesse Eisenberg, we gave him his start in his first film. And let's see, Kate Bosworth, her first film. Paul Dano, who I just saw in this fantastic miniseries, Escape at Dannemora. He plays Matt, one of the convicts.
Yeah.
Matt or Sweat, I'm not sure which one, but he's a fantastic actor. He worked for us as in his first feature role. So we've had a lot. I mean, it's kind of endless the amount of, Gwyneth Paltrow's been up here, Philip Seymour Hoffman's been up here. James Coburn's been up here. I mean, Stacy Keach's been up here 3 or 4 times for us. So we've gone through a lot of these actors and a lot of these younger people that are, you know, as the old joke I have is if you're working for Edgewood Studios, your career is either on the way up or on the way down. You're not a star. So you're on, you know, so, and it's really gratifying to have those young actors find their way, you know, through us as a portal. And I think the young actors in Accelerator, Laura James and Ryan Wassine, I think you're going to be seeing great things from them, you know.
You helped to make stars.
That's right, yeah.
And then
do they call me? No, but
well,
do they check in to see how Dave's doing? No, but that's okay. They're busy.
but you know, if Vermont's a hospitable place, they probably want to come back and visit.
They do, and they have actually.
Yeah.
I know Paul Dano's been. I think Paul Dano actually has a place here now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I heard. But does he call? No.
So David, with the what's the purpose? And I'm sure people probably know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask because I'm not sure. What's the purpose of a movie premiere?
You know, I mean, as a filmmaker, I hate them because they're stressful for me. There's a lot of pressure. But it's also gratifying when you finally get to that moment that it's on the screen with the audience and you get that feedback, which is wonderful. But in this case, this is a benefit premiere, the one we have coming up in Rutland, January 25th at the Paramount Theatre. So it's a chance to give back to the community. It benefits the Rutland Free Library and the Paramount Theatre. And then it's also a chance for the cast and the crew and their families and the people involved in the communities in which we shoot and the communities that support us to see it all up on the big screen and get a little taste of, you know, Hollywood. And so that's really what premieres are about. They have the added benefit of publicity, but our films really are already sold around the world by the time they premiere. So premieres for Edgewood Studios are a chance to give back, which is what I like about them.
Fabulous. And this premiere, again, is?
January 25th at the Paramount Theatre in Rutland, Vermont. You can get tickets at ParamountVT.org. And they're going fast, so if you want to attend, I suggest you go to ParamountVT.org and get tickets. They're only $8 for adults, I think $6.50 for seniors and children. So we kept the price low. It's a big theater. It's a lot of room. The stars will be there. Sam J. Jones will be there. John James will be there. Laura James will be there. Ryan Wassine, all the other actors, the local actors that are in the movie as well. And I think we can get Jeff Hathaway to finally show up.
Come on, Jeff, you can do it.
So, so it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Have we missed anything, Diane? Anything we've forgotten to cover?
I guess out of curiosity, just wondering if you have anything else planned in the future.
A Caribbean vacation. That's what I plan right now.
Yay!
We are always developing projects at Edgewood Studios. We always have about a dozen things in the mix. And that's the process. Accelerator was 4 years in development, 5 years in development to be 2 years in the making. And that's what you do in this business. The cycles are very, very long. So, I don't know, we might be doing that winter western with Sam Jones. You just don't know what pops up.
Awesome.
You know? Could happen.
You know what? Thank you so much for being here today and being such a nice, easygoing man.
Thank you. Thank you for being easygoing hosts. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And you know, you filmed in Chester. You filmed at Killington. Not at Killington, excuse me. Sorry,
Magic Mountain.
Magic Mountain. Sorry about that, Jeff.
We did actually film a small bit at Killington.
Yeah. So.
But we had fun at Magic Mountain.
It was a lot of fun at Magic Mountain. Anyway, so thank you for coming to Okemo Valley, and consider our hand raised if you should need help going forward.
I'll take you up on that. Absolutely.
Fabulous.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much. And the premiere sounds like a party.
It will be a heck of a party, too.
So I think Okemo Valley folks, please turn out, think about it. And maybe we have a movie coming to Okemo Valley before long. I think that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.